Yo guys, what's up? We have a special guest again today, Johnny Marks. He does a Fanatic Hour on 97.5 The Fanatic, and he's on with Mikey Miss. Johnny, what's up?
Hey, yeah, I am. I help babysit Mike for 4 hours, and then I do my own thing from 6 to 7, so I'm glad you listen. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see now. Tomorrow, Sunday Night Football, Eagles-Cowboys. It might not have the meaning they were drawn up at the beginning of the season, but it's still Eagles and Cowboys, so we're going to go in here and preview some stuff. And for you, who needs to step up for the Cowboys to win?
Well, I mean, I think this matchup has a lot to do with a couple things. Obviously, the Eagles' defense isn't what not that we expected it to be great, but it certainly has been a little bit of a struggle this year with them. And you're going to have that when Stuart Bradley's trying to come back from from a knee injury, to where he's probably not going to be full strength until next year. At least that's what people say. And you have a young Brandon Graham who's still trying to learn, and the secondary struggled. So I mean, really, you look at it like this: the Dallas Cowboys have gotten better this season since when? Since Tony Romo. Yeah, when Wade Phillips got fired, they won 3 or 4 under Jason Garrett. They could have won all 4. But since Jason Garrett took over, what have they had? They've had John Kitna as quarterback. And what have they done with John Kitna? They've ran the ball more. And only 2 teams this season in the NFL have actually run the ball more than they've passed the ball. It's a passing league. But the Dallas Cowboys have really, since they started running the ball and they've relied less on the pass, that's when they've been doing very well. And you look at a Tashard Choice and a Felix Jones, and Choice, for my money, has really been underrated, has been underused under Wade Phillips. So I think you have to look at the running backs, Tashard Choice and Felix Jones, against the Eagles line. Antonio Dixon's done great since he's come in for Broderick Bunkley. Mike Patterson needs to fill up those holes. And then Stuart Bradley, the linebackers, they need to play better. Eagles don't have the best linebackers in the world, but Stuart Bradley needs to stop Tashard Choice and Felix Jones. So it's going to come down to the Eagles defense. They're going to score points. Both teams, I think, are going to score points, but in crunch time, when they need a stop, they need to be able to stop them. They can't let Dallas control the clock. Like, I'm sure you saw the Colts-Dallas game last week. Dallas went on a 10-minute drive to end the game, essentially, by running the football. So it's going to come down to, for me, the biggest matchup is, the secondary is going to play a part, and you hope Asante Samuel comes back. But the Eagles need to be able to stop the run, because they can't let Dallas control the game and control the time of possession.
Yeah, and it was actually just announced that Asante Samuel will not travel, so that's kind of a loss there. Yeah.
ESPN.com, I see that, yeah.
Yeah, well, that wasn't the ideal situation. Yeah, I think the running backs need to step up too, and I think specifically Felix Jones has to have a big game since Tashard Choice has really, as you said, he's already stepped up. Felix Jones has got to have a big game. He's got to get them a few big carries of like 15 or 20 yards, and I think the Cowboys actually stand a chance there.
I agree. I certainly agree with that.
Yeah. For the Eagles stepping up, I think it has to be Stuart Bradley, not only wrapping up tackles on running backs and everything, but I think he needs to wrap up Jason Witten. Witten has killed the Eagles numerous times. I hate Jason Witten, but Jason Witten is a great tight end, and he kills the Eagles, and a big problem has been that the Eagles linebacking core has not been able to wrap up tackles and stop the 7-yard gains from turning into 30-yard touchdowns.
Yeah, no question, and we've known for the last few years that the Eagles linebackers, or even safety, if they put Quentin Michael, has had problems stopping just not Jason Witten, but any tight end in this league. So, yeah, that's certainly a problem, and you're right. Since Tony Romo went down and John Kitna came in, you're seeing less passes to Miles Austin. You're seeing more passes to Jason Witten. He's at his comfort zone right there. That's who he's looking for, especially when he gets in trouble. Last 3 weeks, 20 passes thrown to Jason Witten, completed 19 of them. And when the Eagles, one of their weaknesses is covering the tight end, I mean, that's causing a problem. I would expect a lot of the first down throws to Jason Witten, and that's kind of the Cowboys' forte. They've been moving the chains. They haven't been getting the huge plays like the Eagles have. You look at Michael Vick, last few weeks, he's put together some good drives too. So important to control the ball, but also, you're exactly right, important to take care of Jason Witten. That could be the decisive matchup in this game.
Yeah, and I think if they can stop him, they probably will win the game. And going into that, I think it is a pretty close game, but I think the Eagles are able to pull it out 31-24.
31-24 is your prediction. Well, I think it's going to go over too. I think it could be a very high-scoring game with both in the 30s. Yeah, I don't want to sit here and say that the Eagles aren't going to win because I think they are going to win. And two words why: Michael Vick. Donovan McNabb, he had a lot of good years here in Philadelphia, but you saw last year in the playoff game and in the last game of the season that he just is a quarterback with declining skills. And Michael Vick right now has been the difference in the games against the Giants. If you don't have Michael Vick in that game, you lose. Against the Colts, if it's Kevin Kolb or anybody else in there, you lose. So I have to look when I'm looking at this game for a prediction. Yeah, the Eagles defense isn't the greatest, but I mean, let's face it, the Dallas Cowboys secondary is terrible. And one of the big factors is the Eagles traditionally have struggled against a 3-4 defense. And the Dallas front seven last year manhandled the Eagles offensive line. Is Winston Justice going to be able to play? Are you going to have King Dunlap in there protecting Michael Vick's blindside? I mean, we don't know that yet. If Winston Justice does play, certainly not going to be 100%. So, you have to worry about Michael Vick taking these big shots. But the Dallas front seven going up against the Eagles offensive line, which has gotten better over the course of this year, is another huge matchup. So I agree with you. I think the Eagles do win, maybe squeak it out at a 35-31 game, but it certainly should be interesting.
Yeah, and I think for Sunday night this will be a good game the way they drew it up. It might not have the meaning, but it will be a big game, and I think we got another guy that needs to step up for the Eagles who kind of disappeared in those two Dallas games last year is Deshaun Jackson, and if he steps up and they're able to make the big plays, which they should be able to against the Cowboys secondary, then I think the Eagles will easily score 30 or 35 points.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tim. It was interesting that towards the end of last season, not that the league kind of figured out Deshaun Jackson, but I guess they realized that you have to almost put two guys on him. You have to have a safety deep because he'll just run by pretty much any corner in the league. So what does that mean? It means that you have to get the ball to Jeremy Maclin, who has really benefited this year and had a great season. He's going to get more catches than Deshaun Jackson. So if they're taking away Deshaun deep, you have to hit the under. You have to get Jason Avant for first downs. You have to hit Jeremy Maclin. You have to, so LaShawn McCoy has a ton of catches this year. So he's another factor in the passing game. When it's not available over the top, you dump down underneath to LaShawn McCoy. Also, and we talk about the Eagles, and everybody bitches that they don't run the ball a lot. Well, they're not going to run the ball a lot. But when they do run the ball, they need to be effective, and that's something LaShawn McCoy this year has done. He's not getting 20 carries a game, but he's making the most out of his opportunities, and you can see that he's a high yard per carry, and it seems like he's the new Brian Westbrook. He's making the big plays out of the backfield, and that's something that they didn't really have last year. He was still a rookie, and they weren't really trying to use him like they do this year. So that's another key factor of the game. LaShawn McCoy, how do you get him into the game? How do you get plays for him? How do you get him in open space? And Andy Reid over the years has been good about getting his playmakers in situations to make big plays.
Yeah, I think another thing and I heard this on the Fanatic the other day, that Andy Reid treats throwing the ball to the backfield to LaShawn McCoy the same way as anyone else would treat a run. So if they're able to have some big gains out of the backfield from throwing to him, it's the same as run to me, basically.
Yeah, that's always been Andy Reid's philosophy. He likes to throw that short pass out of there, and I'm not buying that it's the same as a run, but that's what everybody likes to say because that's what Andy Reid says. Because it's not the same for your offensive line. You're not blocking forward. You're on your heels a little bit. Listen, they might be better off right now trying to throw the ball a little bit more, just because you do have Michael Vick and you do have the factor of him being able to run it. But let's worry about Michael Vick this week because he's been really taking a beating the last few games, and you just worry, just like when he busted his ribs or whatever happened to his ribs, then Kevin Kolb's in there. So, Vick needs to, I know he's not going to slide, but he really needs to kind of worry about himself. I don't know if he can do it. He doesn't seem like a player that's going to run out of bounds. He wants to get that first down, so I admire that out of him.
I admire that, and I've been a big Kevin Kolb supporter, but Michael Vick needs to go through his progressions and throw the ball as much as he can. He needs to develop somewhat of a slide, and I don't think he's going to do that. So hopefully this Dallas secondary doesn't cover all the receivers, and Vick isn't forced to run a lot.
Yeah, and he has, I think what we didn't see when he was in Atlanta, Michael Vick, is exactly what you're talking about, his progressions, checking down to the receiver if his first two options aren't available. And we've seen him do it this year. I mean, you got to give Andy Reid a lot of credit, and Morningweg, the coaches, for really teaching him this offense. And you've seen it. When he doesn't have something, he's not forcing it. He's not necessarily pulling it down and running. He's looking for McCoy. But at the same time, I don't want to take that out of Michael Vick's game. I don't want to. I mean, that's Michael Vick's had a great year passing, but him being able to run, the threat of him running, getting out of the pocket, that's what makes Michael Vick. And as much as you don't want him to get hurt, you don't want to take that out of his game as well.
Yeah, I mean, that does help his game a lot. I hope when he's running, he's not going into a 270-pound linebacker and thinking he's going to win. That's all. All right, thanks, Johnny.